Do you have dreams? Do you have fantasies? Well, it's time to turn them into realities. You have everything it takes to be a winner. The Winner's Image Personal Development System has everything it takes to show you how. It will assist you in experiencing a change in lifestyle you have up until now only dreamed of. If you're ready to be a winner, we're ready to show you how. To get the very best out of a winner's image, I want to suggest that as you're studying the material, you also use the Winner's Image workbook as a supplement. When the dream is big enough, the facts don't matter. Sam Kalinowicz. The facts have never stood in the way of the winners. The winners are the dreamers who understand how to turn their dreams into reality, and in doing so, they create a better, more beautiful world for everyone. The facts may be real, and they could represent a strong opposition, but nevertheless, the facts don't matter to the winner, that person who holds in their heart a splendid image of their dream. I would imagine that you have a dream. You have a beautiful picture that runs around your mind every now and then of the way you would like to live, of what you would like to be, and some of the things you would like to do. To get the best out of this book, we recommend that you completely ignore the present results that you're achieving in your life. They may not be what you want, so just mentally set them aside. Through the ages, the winners have referred to the place within each of us called the higher self, that place where an image of perfection exists, which is continually attempting to express itself in a greater way. When the winners want to turn their dreams into physical realities, they call upon this higher self, and they set about and change the world, not just for themselves, but for everyone in it. Think about what Thomas Edison did. He illuminated the entire world. Alexander Graham Bell hooked us all together. We can just hit a couple of buttons and be talking to a loved one on the other side of the globe. The Wright brothers actually brought us closer together. They introduced us to a brand new kingdom and changed our perception of the world forever. We're not a long way away from anywhere anymore. We're only hours away. I could be working with Francis MacDonald conducting a seminar in Halifax, Nova Scotia one day and be over in Australia with David Walsh doing the same thing the next. And if I chose, I could jump onto a plane and fly off to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia and be working with Jeet St. Peter the following day. We wouldn't be able to do any of these things without the Bells, the Edisons, and the Wrights. And of course, there have been many other people just like them. And as a matter of fact, you and I are just like them. Now you may be saying, oh no, we're not. But we really are. The only difference is our perception of ourselves, how we see ourselves, and our awareness of this higher place, this higher self within, and perhaps in the results we're getting. Anyone who has ever done any research into the human potential will be quick to tell you that you have infinite potential. You've been blessed with exactly the same mental faculties as the Bells or the Wrights, and the same power flows to and through you that flowed through them. Do you know that you can build the most magnificent dream in your mind? By following the instructions in this book, we're going to show you how to turn them into results. So, as you study the book the way you're instructed and follow your exercise in this book, you're going to develop what we refer to as a winner's image. Page 7. Present facts don't count. It's our higher self that keeps causing us to want to do better, to move in the direction of our dreams. It's our old conditioning and our old image that's holding us back. This higher self persistently sends stimulating and upbeat messages to our consciousness, messages which are meant to protect our integrity and wholeness as created beings. Messages coming from the heart always have a complete disregard for the facts or surrounding circumstances in our lives. That's one of the reasons we're suggesting that you set your present results aside, the present facts in your life, because the more you get involved in this book, the more you're going to cause those facts to change. What was, and what will be is up to you. Unfortunately, 99 out of every 100 people misread the signals they're constantly receiving. Rather than viewing these images with their inner eye of understanding and seeing them as truly unique pictures that are packed with power, possibility, and promise, these images are considered idle wishes, ridiculous fantasies, or daydreams, and it's because they're so far out of tune with your present reality and present results. I like what Patricia Shambrook once said. Don't give me the facts, give me the truth. The facts are always changing. Now, the truth is that you have deep reservoirs of talent and ability within you. You've got the potential to do anything you want to do. And the more you're involved with this book, the more you're going to become aware of that truth. Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning, once said, "Everything can be taken from a person, but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." Viktor Frankl was a Viennese psychiatrist who spent the war years in a German concentration camp. And I don't suppose anyone had been subjected to more physical and mental abuse than Viktor Frankl has, and some of his associates. But it was while he was in that camp that he realized that, regardless of circumstances, you could choose your own way in life. So, regardless of your circumstances, clearly understand that you can start from where you are and change all of those results and make dramatic changes. The masses of people who struggle day in and day out permit their mind to be dominated by their present results that they call facts, its lack and limitation, the poverty that is reflected in their present results. They know why they can't win. It's obvious to them, and they can prove it. The facts win again and again. In other words, the person's present results are in control of them. They're not in control of the results at all. Now, if this is a description of your way of life, release it, let it go. Begin doing what this book suggests. Your compensation will be well worth the effort. Now, clearly understand that regardless of your present situation in life, that wanting to win, to be successful, to dream of living in luxury is not foolish or ridiculous. It is as natural as the night following the day. You were meant to have and enjoy every good that life can offer. You are God's greatest creation. If your life is not a magnificent adventure, it is because errors have been made, either yours or those made by the authority figures in your life. The errors consisting of ideas or concepts about your potential as a person have been lodged in your subconscious mind. I remember that someone once said that you and I are the product of someone else's habitual way of thinking. Keep in mind that when our mind was programmed, someone that knew very little about our potential programmed it. And we certainly didn't have the ability to reject anything they were giving us, because we were infants. Collectively, these ideas cause you to form an image of yourself in your mind. Most likely, it is the mental programming that is restricting your success. When correctly employed, the material in this book will help you correct those errors and assist you in experiencing a change in lifestyle you have up to now only dreamed of. Page 10. Self-image. Let's explore the concept of self-image and start to understand it a little better. Your entire life evolves around images. Just as every company has a corporate image, every individual also has their own self-image. Think of your home for a moment. As you think of your home, be aware that an image of your home comes on the screen of your mind. Or think of your automobile, and an image of it comes on the screen of your mind. And so it does that every time you think of yourself. Science and psychology have isolated the one prime cause for success or failure in life. It is the hidden self-image that you have of yourself. It controls your mind just as surely as your mind controls your heartbeat. To remake your hidden self-image for success and fulfillment is to remake your entire life. Your success in any undertaking will never be greater than the image you have of yourself. Your self-image is your own conception of the sort of person you are. It determines what you believe you are able to accomplish. Your self-image was very likely unconsciously formed from past experiences, your successes and failures, your humiliations and triumphs. This image or opinion you have of yourself will determine how you interpret other people's reactions to you and significantly affect your success in everything you're ever going to do. If you're wondering what kind of self-image you have, it's not difficult to figure it out. All that's required for you is to take a look at the various aspects of your life. Take a look at the results you're getting, possibly the relationships, your income, and the position you hold at work, or the type of business you're operating. Take a look at your own personal appearance. These are the results. They're the outer expression of the inner image. And as we alter this inner image, everything outside begins to change. One of the great errors that almost everyone makes is they're attempting to change their income. They're attempting to change their position. They're attempting to change their business. And they're attempting to change something outside of themselves without changing what's going on inside. For me to try and change the results in my life, in other words, what's going on outside of me, without changing what's going on inside, would just be about as foolish as for me to try to change my reflection in a mirror without changing my physical appearance. It's never going to happen. But that's what people are doing. They're trying to change something outside without changing what's going on inside. Here's a point that most people don't understand, and I want you to read this paragraph over and over again until it's firmly burned into your mind. No person or circumstance on earth can prevent you from improving your self-image. The degree to which you improve the image of yourself will be in exact proportion to the amount of truth that you can honestly accept and the amount of positive change you put into engineering your new self-image, a winner's image. George Bernard Shaw once pointed out that people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. He said, "I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up, look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them." That's what this book is going to help you to do. I like the way Napoleon put it one time. Circumstances, hell, I make them. At the bottom of page 7 in the workbook, there is a diagram that I have become very familiar with, and I've shared with hundreds of thousands of people on all corners of the earth. When we think in images. We've already covered that fact. When you thought of your home, an image came into your mind. And when you thought of your car, an image came into your mind. Now think of your mind. When most people think of their mind, if they get a picture at all, it's a picture of their brain. But their brain isn't their mind, any more than their fingernail is their mind. We're going to have to build a picture of the mind. It's like the little kid in school who was doodling away, drawing a picture, and the teacher asked him what he was drawing. When he told her it was a picture of God, she told him, "No one knows what God looks like." Then he told her they would when he finished the picture. We're going to have to do what that little kid did. We're going to build a picture of the mind. Mind is a movement, and body is the manifestation of that movement. I often mention the brain cannot think. We think with the brain, but the brain cannot think. To clarify that, I point out that it's reported that we have Albert Einstein's brain in a jar in New Jersey. But it's not going to do anyone any good because Albert is not with it. You see, you are a non-physical being. It's that perfection within you, and you activate brain cells, and that's what brings picture on your mind. So since no one has ever seen the mind, we're going to use a diagram of two circles. The large one will represent the mind, and the smaller circle will represent the body. The body is an instrument of the mind. We're going to separate the mind in two parts. Now, see your head as being your mind, and put an imaginary line across the center of your head. Everything from that line to the top of your head will represent your conscious mind. And then from the line to the bottom of your head will represent your subconscious mind. It's your subconscious mind that's literally controlling your body, not your conscious mind. Most people don't know that, but you're going to understand that very clearly by the time you finish this book. In the conscious mind, we think, and we can have all kinds of beautiful thoughts, and we can gather all kinds of marvelous information, and we can repeat it. We can say, "I know that." But have you ever noticed that most people know how to do a better job than they're already doing? Their actions and what they know are not in sync. Salespeople know how to sell, but that doesn't mean they're going to sell. Students know how to study, but that doesn't mean they're going to study. What we know is one thing, and what we're doing is another thing. Our actions are being controlled by the self-image, which is lodged deep in our subconscious mind. It's made up of all kinds of habit patterns. That's the part we're going to focus on changing. Now, we will emphasize a common error. It's one I make, and I've been studying this for 35 years. It's one you probably make many times every day. Some people are always making this error. As a matter of fact, they constantly live with the error. Look back at our mind picture on page 7 and notice how our actions determine our results, and our self-image controls our actions. You may know people who are continually struggling to improve. It could be the salesperson whose sales are low, and they're always struggling to raise the sales, but without success. They may be a student whose marks are always at a C level, or even drop when the student is pushed to study harder. It's a strange thing. The salesperson knows how to sell more, but they don't seem to be able to do it. The student knows how to get a higher mark, but they don't seem to be able to do it. It seems like they're wired to these results they're getting. Many of these people are always broke. They never look overly happy. They are constantly in debt. Why? Why can't they improve? Well, let's analyze the situation and discover this common error. These people are trying desperately to change their end results. What do we mean by end results? Well, it could be their relationships, a state of health, a position at work, or the amount of money you're earning. The people are trying desperately to change that. What they don't understand is the results in their lives are being determined by their actions, and their actions are continually being motivated by their self-image. They have not yet come to understand that their results are in a direct reflection of this image that's lodged deep in their subconscious mind. It's got nothing to do with what they know. You're well aware that some of the smartest people in the world are also some of the poorest and some of the unhappiest. It's got nothing to do with the amount of knowledge they have. Unfortunately, in our society, we award degrees to people based on what they know, not on what they do. That's unfortunate, but it's true. Well, we're going to change that in your life and in my life. An unseen enemy clutches these people because there is no understanding of the self-image, which is the actual cause of their results. The whole universe operates in an orderly way, and one of the laws of the universe is the law of cause and effect. Dr. Werner von Braun, the great rocket scientist, pointed out one time that the natural laws of this universe are so precise that we don't have any difficulty today sending a person to the moon, and we can time that landing with a precision of a fraction of a second. He also mentioned that someone must have set these laws, but we'll save that for another book. As we said, one of the laws is the law of cause and effect. Results are effects. The cause is in the self-image. Most people's error is a common one. They are identifying with their present results because it's in harmony with their present self-image. They do not have a winner's image. Mind is the master power that molds and makes. James Allen wrote that back in 1903 in a little book called As a Man Thinketh. Here's a quote from that book. Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys and 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Our environment is but our looking glass. It's pretty foolish for us to try and hide what's going on inside, because our results advertise to the world what's going on inside of us. To the aware person, we hide nothing. We're going to change that image, and in changing it, we're going to change the end result. Way back in 1960, Maxwell Maltz, a cosmetic surgeon, made a phenomenal breakthrough, and he wrote about it in a marvelous book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I recommend you add that book to your library. As a matter of fact, your library is not complete without it. Cybernetics is the science of control and communication in the animal and some machines. It's actually like the automatic pilot in an airplane. Ralph Waldo Emerson said something beautiful. Of what use to make heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is to keep them? How many times have you said, I'm going to change that, I'm never going to do that again. But you never change the self-image. It's the self-image that's the lawbreaker, and that's what we want to change. As we've illustrated on page 11 of the workbook, look at the plane flying from one point in New York to point 2 in Hawaii. After the plane leaves the vicinity of LaGuardia Airport, the pilot flips on something called a cybernetic mechanism. Of course, you only refer to it as an automatic pilot. That plane is on course flying directly to Hawaii. The pilot can get up and walk around and even watch a movie with the passengers as if he wanted to. The pilot is not flying the plane. The automatic pilot is flying the plane, the cybernetic mechanism. Now, should that plane veer off course, the cybernetic mechanism picks up the deviation from the set course, which is Hawaii, and feeds it into a coordinating mechanism, and the thrust of the engines or the flaps on the wings are altered until that plane is brought right back to the course again. Did you know that your self-image is exactly the same? I want to suggest that on page 11, you draw a straight line going straight across the body circle, the same as the line going from New York to Hawaii. At the end of the line, put your present results. You attempt to change your behavior, you really do, and you give it everything you've got. You're going to put more energy into it, and you may move off course. However, you're going to find that you come back on course again because you're trying to force it, and force won't work. It's a self-image that's controlling the behavior. Let's suppose a person is selling $1 million a year of their product, and they go out because they've all wound out. They've been to a sales meeting or listened to a good tape.